Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is presumably the final episode of Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. I did a tiny amount of off-camera grinding, basically just to evolve Celio up to Walrein, so we get to say goodbye to its great and bizarrely flat mustache. However, I'm actually going to go do another section of Mount Battle here real quick, because I would like some more Poke Coupon. Oh, fuck. Oh my god, I screwed up. Well, it's reload time, everybody, because it's easier than doing anything a different way here. Yes, I want to stop the current emulation. As the window then proceeds to disappear. Game patch enabled? Huh? What game patch? I don't know what patch it just enabled on this. Where can I see that? Because it's not like I have any downloaded anywhere. That's weird. Telling people about the off-camera grinding for free that's normally for the tier 3s. Well, Roundy, I don't have that kind of audience that gives that kind of money yet. Except for like that one time. That was a special occasion. It will probably never happen to me again. That VTuber idea keeps seeming like a good idea. Anyway. So, continue, don't hit new. Let's try not being an idiot this time. We're going to start from Area 5. Well, I'm telling you, that VTuber idea seems better and better every day, but I digress. We teleport on up to battle number 41 here. Because we got a couple of party members that could use some experience here. And I'd like to be able to pick up one of those Ice Beam TMs. And you can see we are in a little bit of a slightly behind status, actually. All of the battles in XD are doubles, except for, I think, one trainer battle at the very beginning of the game, and the extremely small amount of wild Pokemon battles that you're able to access. But every trainer battle otherwise, basically every trainer battle after you get access to a second Pokemon is a double battle. Which means that literally every battle that's available in Colosseum is a double battle, because you start Colosseum with Espeon and Umbreon, and wild Pokemon just do not exist in Colo. It's because of story. Apparently, the Ore region is so, like, fucked as of Colosseum that there's just no wild Pokemon in the region for some reason. Which is interesting, because what exactly causes that? Throughout the entire franchise, Pokemon literally live everywhere. I think the idea of having a game where it's all double battles is pretty interesting and an overall decent idea, because Game Freak really does want this to be important. they've been pushing various double battle related stuff throughout the franchise pretty much since Gen 3. And the official competitive format is all double battles. But they never really seem to go whole hog on the we're going to have large amounts of double battling in the games. There's a small amount of them that crop up in a few random places. You've got I think Tate and Eliza is literally the only that's literally the only gym leader battle that's a double battle in the entire series. Is the 7th gym in Ruby and Sapphire. And there's no Elite Four that has that going on. We do not need Ingrain for Roselia. That is probably a poor choice because that's a Pokemon that's a little bit on the glass cannon kind of side. And also doesn't really understand what variety in moves means, for that matter. So having no switching ability on a Pokemon that literally only knows Magical Leaf and Giga Drain, and also what's the other one? Leech Seed, right? That thing that doesn't work on grass type Pokemon at all. That seems like a bad idea. Yeah, Delcatty is pretty cute. They gotta do something to make that Pokemon like useful in these games though. Whalmer! The orb whale. It's a big orb to ponder. Whenever it's closed, because it's like, I think the idea is that it's supposed to be kind of baleen instead of teeth, but it just Whalmer always kind of looks like it's smirking. Like it's trying really hard not to laugh at the terrible joke it's about to tell you. Basically what I'm saying is they should give it chilly reception if they ever bring it back. Although on the other hand, reserving that basically for Slowking and nobody else is also really funny. A move where a Pokemon literally tells a joke so bad that it creates snow. Thank you, Game Freak. This is actually really good. A top shelf bit. It was agility. I caught only half the animation and I was about to say, oh god, is it doing fucking double team? It's not. It is, however, using Rolling Kick, an attack that you don't see very often because it's owned by like 3 Pokemon total. And they're pretty much all in this same family, so that's helpful. Every single one of these trainers does something really goofy when they get defeated. I enjoy that. Oh, Shelgon, that... Yeah, see, this is a case where Roselia doesn't really do a whole lot, because the most it can do is just... annoy this goofy round object. I think the guy's yeah, it's named Cuxor. Wow, that's... This is a choice. It's a lot funnier in 2026, I'll tell you that. But also, this, I suppose, is the consequence of just having all of your Pokemon names be composed of random letters. Which does generally seem to be the actual way that they do these names in the Aura games. They were just like, okay, we don't feel like making real names for these guys. I don't know what's up with that. Why are the playable characters and like Ryder Willie the only people who have real names in these games? Everybody else is just like, well, we dug into this Scrabble bag and we picked 5 random letters. They wasted all their ideas elsewhere. Well, whatever. We got his amount of experience that is at least a little bit. Wily? Dr. Wily? Wait, no. Well, the Nuzleaf should probably go down in one hit. As for the Raichu, that might be a little bit more difficult. And by that, I mean it's going to take multiple hits. Calling it hard would be a bit of a stretch, but also... It does carry Thunderbolt, so it has the ability to do damage to us. Yeah, just bite the chicken, I guess. And Quagsire probably will go down, or at least take huge amounts of damage from Magical Leaf. Masquerain, meanwhile, will take a good amount of damage from Flamethrower. And by a good amount, I mean it might die. Unfortunately, well, Roselia dying is not necessarily that unfortunate because we get fully healed between each battle here. That just means I can bring in something else that needs a couple of levels, and in this case, it's going to be Ursaring. On to battle number 47. What are we faced with this time? Maybe something that would be a little bit better for us to walk into here. Well, Croconaw and Kirlia, that we can deal with a lot better than some of the stuff we've been seeing here. Oh no, not my ability that I forgot I had. I'm not even sure offhand what Natural Cure exactly does, so... There. Sudowoodo! There he is! What an exceptionally funny Pokemon. And this game just doing kind of a funny dance as opposed to trying to stand as still as possible and then running away at the first sign of provocation in a really hilarious way in Gen 9. But otherwise just trying to stand perfectly still in battle. Which is a little bit underwhelming, but hey. Oh, the little smile that we got to see for like 2 frames there. That's pretty good. Trying to learn Feint Attack. I don't really need that. I already have Bite. If I wanted a different Dark move, it would basically have to be Crunch. And I don't think that happens until much later, so... Move on. Yeah, Crunch at level 59, so I don't think we're getting that this playthrough. And that's a little bit outside our pay grade here. Quilaffa and a Celio, so we can just hit both these with both of our moves. Well, hit one of them with both of our moves, rather. You probably understood what I was saying, but words are hard. Hooray! Get out of here, man. Alright, Machoke up next. We can... just hit this guy with some of this stuff and leave the Machoke for a bit. Which is probably a little bit dangerous because it could do some serious damage to Houndoom, but we'll likely be fine. Especially because instead it's using Foresight on a Pokemon that doesn't have any immunities. So none of that matters, dude. It don't matter. None of this matters. Hey, good choice of targets there because Roselia doesn't care about accuracy checks anymore. Magical Leaf ignores accuracy checks to always hit, as long as the opponent isn't invincible. So I'm perfectly fine with this guy wasting his time doing shit like that. Yay! So here we've got Eric Burden, and he's sending out a couple of animals for us to deal with. We got Bayleaf and a Misdreavus, which is unfortunate. We can't split our attention up here with Houndoom, but I think we might be able to... we can at least take out the Bayleaf. I don't know so much about Misdreavus, but we'll see. Oh, if I had just aimed in the same location, I could probably have gotten that. Or at least done a decent amount of damage. Anyway, classic Ghosts using Confuse Ray. That's what they like to do the most out of practically anything. And here we are, Battle 50. This is our area boss. Let's see what she's got going for us. Starting off with two Hoenn starters. Mid stages anyway, but still interesting. Sableye for 4th Pokemon. Oh, our confusion missed. Damn it. Thankfully, Rock Tomb targeting Roselia instead of Houndoom. Because otherwise that could be a bit of an issue. We'll just do something like this. That's annoying. Oh well. However, thankfully, Sableye has, like, no stats, so... good enough. Mightyena as the last Pokemon up here. Again, let's try to set Leech Seed on something. I say again because I'm a fool. The last thing we tried to set on any Pokemon was actually Confusion. Unfortunately, Roselia is dead, so no more experience for him. But that does give me a perfectly reasonable excuse to bring out... yeah, we'll bring out Ursaring. I mean, EQ is going to hurt us pretty badly, but that's okay. Maybe Ursaring can get greedy and get all the experience for herself. We're not concerned with perfect results here, so... whatever. Oh yeah, she's out of here. Unfortunately, no experience for fainting an ally. As much as it would be really funny. Yeah, see, pretty valuable. Not quite as much as I would like, but hey. Good enough. We got 1,000 coupons. That's great. And we get TM39. See, these unique rewards are a big part of why I don't do the new areas of this off camera, so that way you can see what they are. And we got Rock Tomb, which is useful, but there's not really a lot of Pokemon that I'd want to teach it to on my team. Instead, we teleport back to the entrance, and we go pick up our Ice Beam, and I believe we basically just want to go for the end, then, if we can. Yeah, no Sludge Bomb TM here. I had to double check. Because, yeah, at this point, we want to use, basically, as many of the best moves as we're able to for our Pokemon. Although, yeah, leaving a special move on there to sandbag turns if I really need to. Which I won't, but hey. For the Aura Coliseum. Oh. That's a load of bullcrap, man. Eesh. You're kidding me. Well, maybe not, but... Right, brain switched off. We have to go back to Gadeon Port, and we have to go reascend the mountain here. Yep, everybody, it's time to go climb this big volcanic island. It's worth blue or red mana, apparently. And also hundreds of dollars. It's this way, I think, right? No, not quite. All the way over on the left entrance, I believe. Just probably make sure everybody's fully healed, right? Yeah, everybody is at full HP, so we're good to go. Technically, there probably are also power points to worry about, but I think we're probably fine on those. Now to wait for the elevator. Because, yeah, this is a part of the game where the design feels a little bit outdated because there's no real shortcut back up here if you leave. Perhaps you're just not expected to, which... fair, but also questionable. All right, so as we know, these holes don't drop anywhere useful. We've seen all the interesting ones, and we've got all the items out of it, so just get to the elevator, and up we go. It's time, everybody. For the real content. And by that, I mean... and scan everywhere before I walk into the dome here. Hey, there's an elevator. And oh, hey, look, it's the cult leader. And his ridiculous hair, hat, hood thing. Yeah, this guy really wants to be a leader. He wants it a little too much, so obviously, even ahead of anything else, that's why he'd be dangerous in any position of power. And being that we're now in the boss phase of the game, this guy has 6 Pokemon, and he's leading off with 2 that are a really, really unlucky matchup for this dude. Compared to what we've got, yeah. You're gonna have a bad time, dude. And then he sends out Skizor. That thing is gonna get nuked from orbit in a second here. Oh, hey, Soul Rock to match his Lunatone from earlier. And when you know, it's a Shadow Pokemon. This one is a level in the 40s, though, unsurprisingly. Which does not match the other one and feels a little bit weird, actually. That he's got this thing at level 41 and the other one at level 25. It's not really weird for any of the matched pairs in this series, basically, in general, but I don't know, whenever I see it, it feels weird. Then again, as some of you might know already, as I feel I've said before, they buffed Ariados in Gen 7, I think. And then they didn't give anything to Ledian at the same time. And calling those a matched pair probably isn't really correct, but they definitely feel like it on some level. Anywho, I know his last Pokemon is a Shadow Pokemon. I forget what Pokemon it's a Shadow Pokemon of, but that means that we're going to try and deal with the Solrock before we deal with Cast Form. Because a lot of these late game battles are full of groups of multiple Shadow Pokemon. So in order to try to keep the difficulty down, we want to mitigate the amount of situations we end up in where there are 2 shadows on the field. Because that is kind of not good to put up with. However, I will still switch in Magneton, so that way I can throw around some Thunder Wave in case we fail to capture this turn. And yeah, brief spoilers, speaking of multiple Shadow Pokemon, Greevil has a full team of 6 Shadow Pokemon, which is far more than anyone else in the game. The most otherwise is 3, I believe. So that's going to be what you might call a fun fight. Where we have to try to deal with the fact that he's got that many that do just guaranteed super effective damage. I mean, I guess technically we could bring in the Shadow Lugia and have that be kind of an offset for it, because it would be able to tank. That's still not necessarily the most useful use of our resources. Oh, no, that's not, don't switch move. I didn't realize that button did that. That is the Y button? X button? X button. Yeah, sorry, I had to go look over at my GameCube controller to point it out, because as we know, I'm on an emulator. So I'm using an Xbox controller, so what I pressed was the B button on the Xbox controller. Which, of course, because all of these controllers use different patterns for the buttons. You know, even the GameCube controller, if you were to place the B button at left and A button down, is not the same as the SNES controller. And I forget, I don't think the DS matches that or the Switch controller. Because ultimately, you know, why do something sensible, right? You know what I'm saying? It's real stupid. It's real stupid. Just unimaginably so. Let's finally cook that cast form, and we'll throw Leech Seed on Starmie. I don't think we're going to outspeed Starmie, and I think Roselia is going to die before that, but we're giving it a shot here. Thankfully, Roselia is already... thankfully, Starmie is already paralyzed, so we don't have to think about any of that. So that makes my life slightly easier. Ah, damn it. I don't remember if Claydol has anything that's going to help us out too much here to prevent this thing from dying, but also to attempt to just well, I guess Psychic could do all right. But I do want to chunk it at least some. Yeah, that's not really the option, but I think that my Ancient Power would probably have been okay, although it might have been about the same amount of damage, really. Excuse me. Oh, that's some rough amount of damage. And that's an area attack. Wow. Well, again, it's a good thing that we can just go and heal after... At least we should be able to just go and heal after this. I don't think this is a true boss rush. Certainly not the way it was in Coliseum, where there's basically an actual boss rush towards the end. Because you get sent into a Coliseum-style battle. A back-to-back sequence of what I think is 6 battles, actually. And each of them has a shadow Pokemon to capture. Which is kind of great. No legendaries in that sequence, though. Although the final 2 bosses do have back-to-back a Metagross and a Tyranitar, which are pretty serious. Pretty serious Pokemon. Better than a lot of legendaries in many cases. And that guy is toast. We won't be hearing from him again anytime soon. Ooh, off he goes. He's like, get me the fuck out of here! However, we should now be able to use the elevator that he took and go back down to the entry. Oh, yikes. There was a guy waiting to ambush us. You are, without a doubt, the smartest grunt in the entire Pokemon series, my dude. That speaks to a level of planning that I would never expect out of these chuckle fucks. Because historically, none of them have been that smart. Claydol, just Hyper Beam the Blissey. That should be a kill, right? Even with Claydol not having the most physical attack. Yep. We do love a good old-fashioned death ray. He was wheezing. Unfortunately, we don't have a chance to use our Psychic on that. Houndoom got hit by some toxic poison. That's not so amazing. But that's fine. We'll just keep flamethrowering this Shuckle. It wanted no part of this. Okay. Hey, get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't want no part of you neither. Meanwhile, this Shuckle is not going to live through this. And Bide is a terrible choice on Shuckle anyway. It doesn't have the HP to support that. Come on. You know better than that, guy. Probably. Okay. We can now go and hit the healing machine. That was quite impressive to get ambushed by a random grunt like that. And I'll give that one guy credit. That's the only intelligent member of an evil team in the entire series. But now that we've accomplished that, let's save real quick. Oh, hey. Yeah, it's perfectly fine to overwrite that. Dang it. Ah, yes, here's Ardos. I think we mentioned this guy before. Yeah, don't worry, dude. We already knew about that shit already, so yeah. Let's take this guy on. Opening with his Swellow and his Zam. He's got fast Pokemon, I see. That could probably prove to be a bit of an issue for us because we're not exactly looking at the fastest team ourselves. His Swellow is a shadow Pokemon. Okay, let's remove Zam real quick because, you know, as fast as we're able to. Because that thing is generally very capable of doing huge amounts of damage due to its really high special attack stat and its great speed. But it does also have paper-thin defenses, so we managed to take it out in one bite. Excellent. Then we have to start contending with trying to capture Swellow. Kingdra is not a nice thing to see. Yeah, exactly. Thank goodness Alakazam just dies whenever you look at it. Controller? Uh-oh. One sec. There we go. I think I'm just going to hit Swellow with a quick bite and see if that does some good damage to it without killing it. Unfortunately, this thing does also do pretty good damage, but, I mean, to be fair, let's look over at Houndoom and see how durable it is, and the answer is none. None durability. Meanwhile, Paralysis means that Swellow should now be basically a free capture, and yeah, Houndoom is not dead, actually. Fuck! Wow, alright, nice crit, asshole. That was... I'm so glad you pulled that one off, buddy. I don't have a good source of damage on this thing other than just hit it hard. And so I think Walrein is coming up here to become a problem for a moment. And by become a problem, I mean probably end up getting killed for its troubles, but hey. Because knowing me, this one Pokemon here or another will do something ridiculous. But for now, we do that, and we throw out some Ice Beam toward Kingdra, which is only neutral damage, but that's still probably okay. Heracross. I don't have flying type damage on this team, do I? I sure don't. Wow. Well, you see, clearly you just weren't thinking about it very much because of some reason. But yeah, much like Link, our player character is left-handed. Which means that now that this game is coming out on the Switch, you should be on the lookout for him to suddenly be right-handed. This is a joke about the Wii version of Twilight Princess. See, I told you there were other reasons why it was the worst Zelda game. Wait. Someone will probably get annoyed at me for something like that, but listen. To what, I don't know, but hey. Good thing that missed. That is rather painful, but Walrein, I suppose, doesn't do a ton most of the time anyway. Listen, I just wanted a water type early on, and then I didn't want to switch later. And yet, maybe I should have. Dugong might have been the better choice. In fact, it probably was. Electabuzz, that is another shadow Pokemon, right? Yes. I thought so. He does, however, have one more Pokemon. He doesn't have a second shadow, does he? Or third shadow, rather. That would be some rough shit. That would be rough. Just the way your mother likes it, Trebek. We're going to revive Magneton. And try to just hit Electabuzz for some decent damage. Ow. This guy is landing a lot of crits on me here. Magneton should be able to paralyze that guy, I think. I was gonna say, I probably walk into Heracross hitting me with Brick or something. I'd be so mad. I mean, to be honest with you, I might already be a little bit, but... I don't know. I keep trying to press the button that's where the circle button on the PS2 is. Because of reasons. I may have been playing a PS2 game recently. Yeah, that is fine. Wow. Did I even manage to paralyze that thing? The Electabuzz? Yes, I did. Okay. Let's remove Heracross and Leech Seed the Electabuzz. And it's going... Seriously? It's going before anyone else in this. I mean... Okay. I don't think Heracross is that fast, but sure. Sure. And he sends out Snorlax, and oh god, right. He has 3 Shadow Pokemon. This sucks. This is where we just start basically doing Hail Mary Pokeball throws and hoping that we get somewhere. Shadow Half that cuts everybody's health in half. Thankfully, it also hit Snorlax, so... Oh, and it hits him, too. That's great, actually. That helps us out quite a bit. Because that should now be decently free. Meanwhile, Roselia can throw a Leech Seed on Snorlax. Just to try to mitigate that leftovers recovery. Because, again, we're in the just chuck and pray situation at this point. Or take the L and make Mirror B pick up the pieces. At Shadow End. What an incredible move name there. It is a move that has 60% accuracy because it hits like a fucking truck. Hey, Retro. All right, come on, get this guy in the ball. Make this easy for me, game. I'm pretty sure that since they changed basically all of the catch rates in this game relative to later games, yeah, unfortunately, no freebie there for us, but nevertheless, oh, only 70 catch rate. That's still something. All right, come on, fuck up, dude. Fuck up, fuck up, fuck up. You didn't fuck up. Shadow End also does recoil, so we do have to look out for that, I guess. That there's a possibility of a draw. Or again, the possibility of him just dying from Leech Seed damage, which looks like it's more than leftovers. Now, would you get in there? Unfortunately, heavy balls don't exist in this game, but I don't think that would actually help us anyway. Yeah, so Snorlax has a catch rate of 70 in this game as opposed to the, like, 2 that it has in most other games. Fuck. Well, this is about to end in misery. Yep, and by misery, I mean we technically got out of the fight, but now I'm almost definitely going to have to go and find Mirror Bead to catch that. And by almost definitely, I mean he's out of there. And he just walks off. Never to receive any sort of actual punishment. But we do get an elevator that's over here, but we can't use it. So it might just be there for show. Which, if so, I mean, fair enough, but I really wish I had access to some more useful Pokeballs in this game than just, like, Ultra Balls as our best bet. This isn't really the sort of situation where you want to be fucking around like that. Now, as I said, I'm going to still try to get every Shadow Pokemon in this. But I did sort of look at Greevil and go, okay, 6 Shadow Pokemon in one fight, that's going to be rough. There's every possibility that I'll take the fall in order to... Oh, hey, look, there's a lab set up here. Every possibility that I would just take the fall in order to be able to catch more of them on a replay or something of the final boss. So I have no idea what that's going to look like. We may end up skipping some of those into the future, but for the time being, I'm still trying real hard to do this. Hey, there's Mr. Greevil. And look at his teeth. The fact that he's got, like, detail on the texture to individuate them like that is something. Got a floating chair like that, too. Mixter HD Mikester? Anyway, we're being blocked by a wall of glass, and since we don't have any large, heavy objects that can break it, we just try to go backwards, I guess? Oh, hey, here's here's Gorrigan coming up through the elevator, so we'll be able to use that afterwards, I guess. Is that how we're going to be able to circumvent his glass wall? I'm not sure how that would necessarily work, but hey. Let's fight the Monkey Man. I just realized he's got a second pair of goggles around his neck. What do you need 2 pairs of goggles for, my dude? All right, taking a guess here that... Oh. I was expecting Slow King to be the one to protect, because I figured that this guy is a protect Earthquake guy. I didn't think that Slow King could use Earthquake. But in any case, he's not doing that 2 turns in a row. Not barring him winning the coin flip, which... Yeah, to be fair, maybe I shouldn't be like, yeah, he's not doing that, because I've seen how lucky the AI gets with that. They will win every single one of those coin flips. Every time. Now, Aggron, that's a Pokemon that would be pretty susceptible to an Earthquake. Unfortunately, our options for that are... Well, we do have Ursaring. But I don't want to keep hurting our Pokemon so much. Let's bring Walrein in, and... He is almost assuredly going to have Aggron use a defense move... and Slow King use Earthquake. But we're going to try and split things up here, just in case I get baited. As I did earlier. Unfortunately, it's no good, and Roselia is hitting sort of the fall-off point, I think. Because his damage is not living up to the numbers that I would like. Now, this would be a fair point for Slow King to guard and then have Aggron use Earthquake, because surely Aggron can use Earthquake. I would expect Aggron to use Earthquake far more than I would expect Slow King to use Earthquake. Although perhaps I would expect it to use more than Ursaring too, but I digress. Hey, look, there's Walrein also. Yeah, funny, I've seen that Pokemon somewhere before. However, his Aggron is down, and now he's going to be bringing in his Shadow Pokemon, starting with Poliwrath. There's Poliwrath just doing his flexing animations. Like, yeah, look how cool I am. Do any of you remember that brief period where Poliwhirl was one of the early mascot sort of Pokemon? And then they decided to stop doing that after a period. I forget the exact reason why any of that happened, but... Hey, good paralyze. Just hope we don't get frozen for our troubles. That would be really bad. Yeah, nothing to worry about there. So we'll T-Wave, we'll Ice Beam, and then we will hope that this thing is in a position where I can just start chucking balls. And he's got Shadow Sky on this Pokemon as well, which, okay, I mean, that's a move you can use. Oh god, it's really not in a position for me to just chuck at it. That's a little disappointing, but what can you do, I suppose? Yeah, so we'll keep Ice Beaming with Walrein. Meanwhile, Magneton is in the spot where I can throw the Ultra Ball. And again, taking a little bit of a risk, I guess, of just wasting a turn by doing it this early. But because he's got one more Shadow Pokemon in reserve, bumping off the Walrein right away is probably actually a bad idea. Yeah, and here we go. Here's Mr. Mime. And you can tell from that face just how old those textures are. My god, that looks like something from 1998. In particular, by looking kind of low resolution. Oh god, you're doing that. Don't kill your ally or I'm going to be really sad. Unfortunately, Magneton is going down like a sack of weird metal orbs. And my best damage options for dealing with Walrein, because I need to shut that thing up right now. Ursaring is my best option, so... Yeah, we're seeing double here. 4 Crusties. At least 2 of which are Walrus. Looking crusty. Let's just try and chuck a ball at Mr. Mime right away and Brick Break Walrein. His, not mine, because, yeah. Not quite a kill, but we did get rid of the Mr. Mime, so that's great. Unfortunately, Shadow Sky didn't finish off his last Pokemon, which would be very funny. Gorgon defeating his own Pokemon would actually just kind of be the funniest possible option in the entire world. If there were a tree, I'd climb it to get away from all this. We get it. You're an ape. An ape man. An ape man. Well, now that we've defeated O Banana, let's go and heal up again. And I suppose see if the Mirror B radar goes off. Time to heal. All right, well, I guess there's a bridge underneath to the main base for some reason. And this guy's opening up with Gale and Ampharos. So at least one of those is pretty easy to get rid of. I mean, Gale doesn't have a single impressive stat. And here's Breloom, yet another Pokemon reminding me that I do not have flying damage on this team, and I probably should. Also, holy shit, that Ampharos did a lot of damage. That was pretty rough. Millhouse. And come on, aim the other way, you goofball. Yes, thank goodness. Less thank goodness, but I don't think we're getting in before Donphan. That thing is actually of a decent speed, if I recall correctly. Ooh, Doug Trio. This guy's got a Shadow Doug Trio, which means that we can't really even bother trying to T-Wave that thing. Even if our last Pokemon were to die. Well, last Pokemon. One of our Pokemon, I guess. Let's just charm it and try to throw a Leech Seed on it. And he's referring to Shadow Sky, because, of course. This is just the main out for any of these dudes. They're just like, well, I can't think of a real strategy. Let's just use Dark Sandstorm, right? It's not literally Dark type, etc. But yeah, so Shadow Break is still doing a bunch of damage to us because we didn't debuff it. There's no way we could debuff it near enough to make that not kill us, but the weather would do it anyway, so. you know, that's just kind of how it goes, isn't it? Thankfully, we land the Leech Seed anyway, and now I gotta play careful around this, because Dugtrio is... Well, Dugtrio has glass bones and paper skin, so... We've got to make sure that we don't completely murder it way too early. And I can't status it for this fight, so... Ancient Power should at least... Yeah, because Ancient Power is resisted. It shouldn't kill it. Although, there we go, getting the Omni Boost. The rarely seen Omni Boost. But I feel like we've had a ton of them this game, so... Yeah. Magneton, come in here and turn off the crap weather. And replace it with weather that is theoretically less crap. Wow, 2 in a row. 2 Omni Boost in a row. Are you kidding me right now? That is a huge shock. Well, Ultra Ball and click T-Wave just because I got a sandbag a turn here. It would certainly... It's good that we caught it, but also attempting to click Ancient Power in that situation would kill it. So I'm very glad that we actually were able to successfully capture that. But that guy is gone, and now all that should be left of the game are 3 fights. And then there's a very small post-game to this game. And... I mean, I guess if I were to go back and collect the small amount of Shadow Pokemon that I missed, which is to say 1, because that Ardos fight was a bastard. But yeah, for now, just carry on. Carrying on here. And here we are around the side of the facility. And unfortunately, they do see us, but I guess those are some very loud doors. And meanwhile, here's Mr. Red. Coming over here to fight us. Yeah, whatever you say, dude. Gonna kick this guy's something here. Okay, I wasn't expecting him to be leading off with a shadow Pokemon, and he has a regular Pokemon as well here, so... I mean, that Ninjask is not really a thing that I would consider to be a threat under most circumstances, but I gotta plan my offense here. I guess we bring in Magneton, and then we Leech Seed Manectric, and off we go. Yeah, never mind. He just one-shot our Roselia. That's a shocking amount of damage for that thing. Alright, we will start off by Thunder Waving Manectric and also Bite it and see if we can do some damage to it. Meanwhile, this guy is using Dig with Ninjask, so I think that means that Magneton has to get switched out immediately in order to protect our business interests here. And obviously, we're going to switch for Claydol because, yeah. As Ninjask continues to get speed boosts while underground, which is funny, actually. Alright, let's just throw the Ultra Ball at Manectric and see what happens. Fuck. Yeah, I told you that was the one that we had to go for. And Shadow End missing. That is actually... I think I would prefer for that to land, but that's okay. Well, Houndoom is going to eat it here. That's unfortunate. But again, at this point, we're just trying to get some captures here. There we go. Took 3 tries, but we caught Manectric. And he's sending out Salamence, which is yet another Shadow Pokemon. Salamence is quite a dangerous Mon. It would be a nice add to the team, but I don't think we're going to have a very easy time with that. Oh, hey, thankfully Ninjask does, like, 0 damage. So Dig didn't even hurt us very much. However, the Ninjask is dead, which is probably good. I'm going to at least presume that it's a good thing. As he sends in Flygon, and Flygon is not a Shadow Pokemon. So let's go for Shadow Ball on Salamence, and then we switch out for Magneton, and just hope that this thing isn't an Earthquake spammer.
I mean, in general, it's a little bit hard to know what exactly his strategy is as we proceed to walk into 2 hits. Ugh. Painful. I guess we're going to use a healing item and then try to go for the T-Wave. And then Magneton switches out if it's still alive. Please. Okay, you hold on. You held on. Very good. As we just use Ancient Power on Salamence, that should be a good enough amount of damage, especially with the amount that we've taken so far. All right, pivot to Walrein, who can deal with Flygon, I suppose. Yeah, we take only a small amount of damage from Flamethrower. Only 13. Because, really, Flygon is not a special attacker at all. Ow. Yeah, that's much worse. That's real good. I'm glad for that. By which I mean the other thing. No, you know what? We're gonna hit it with the Psychic. We're breaking out the big guns. We're going to demolish this thing as badly as we can. We want to put its HP down low so that way a catch will be much easier. I mean, that didn't do shit either. That's upsetting, really. But we've taken down Flygon and distributed experience to like 8 Pokemon as he sends in Marowak. Oh boy, that's a Shadow Pokemon. I can't para that. And Claydol is down. This is why I kind of wanted to level grind some more, and then I got caught up in something else. So, alright, Ursaring, get in here. Go for a Brick Break, and then throw a ball. And hope that I can get something out of this. Good, we got 2 of them for this fight. That's something at least. Because now he's sending in Lapras, and that is going to be a 4th Shadow Pokemon for this fight. Christ. Well, I guess they're kind of giving us a taste of what's to come with Greevil, who again has a whopping 6 Shadow Pokemon. I suppose, depending on your perception, you could say he's got 7, because we do also have to deal with the box art legendary of XD001, aka Shadow Lugia, that is completely recolored also. Okay, throw this at Marowak and go for the T-Wave on Lapras, which will hopefully be good enough for us. But I admit I'm not holding my breath too much here. Fuck! And Marowak was not captured, but Lapras might be... You Son of a bitch. Yeah, that's right. Eat me. Don't hit that thing. That's good. Yeah, we're gonna have to... We're gonna have to hash out how I'm gonna do this other than just get lucky. Well, I guess we're gonna go for trying to get lucky here. But we are also going to purge Shadow Sky because that is annoying. You fucker. You absolute motherfucker. And instead now it's using Shadow Storm, which is an area of effect special move. Well, Ursa Ring should live this, but Magneton is not going to have such a good time. Which is unfortunate because now that means that I have to either spend a revive or just deal with Lapras not being paralyzed for this. And I think I know what I'm going to do here, and it's going to be that I somehow didn't eat a Shadow End because I know how much this game loves to foist that on me. Loves to just make me feel real bad. I'm going to look over at my cheat sheet real quick, actually. And see which of these has a better catch rate for us. Oh, it's Marowak by a good chunk. So that's fine. And we'll bite Lapras. Which isn't going to do anywhere near a killing shot, but... This person has final boss energy. We are pretty close to a final boss, yeah. We're not exactly there yet, but... Because, oh boy, it gets... The boss gets final ear pretty soon. And not even this guy, but... Yeah, alright, dude. Go ahead and Shadow End and put yourself to almost no health. That will... that's not almost enough, but okay. I suppose that will do. As long as I can actually get the goddamn catch now. This is so tough. Things dial up so hard here. I mean, at least there's good EXP opportunities elsewhere, but shit, man. All right, yeah, it's using Shadow Sky. Whatever, that's fine. As long as it also doesn't do Shadow End or something. I mean, it has Shadow Storm for its big DPS move, but we're on our last Mon. We're just going to keep throwing these Ultra Balls until it works. Ah, fuck. Yeah, see, and I'm kind of afraid of, like, actually doing a damage move here. Oh, wow! Okay! That is way more damage than before. So, we just lost, and now we have to go through all of that again. Or we can just say, fuck it, and let them all die. Which is honestly what I'm considering doing, is just kill all the rest of the Shadow Pokemon. Forget about what I said earlier. This is, I'm not leveled enough for this, and quite frankly, I did a lot of level grinding for this. No, of course it doesn't. Why would it do that? Why would it do that? Oh, but it does take our balls away. So, you know, at risk of sounding gross here, which is something that we all know I don't love to do on this stream, we did just get castrated. Anyway. Yeah, I know it was a really easy gag. I'm just... I think at this point, every once in a while in a game like this, I'll hit a certain level of just going, yeah, I don't really care anymore about the 100% because it's so much of a pain in my ass. And I think this is going to be about the point where we just look over at Eldis's Pokemon and we say, fuck this guy. I'm not having this anymore. Let me keep the Pokemon I caught that was in the fights before. Yes. Catch and release. You catch, they release. No refunds. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know what? I know what we gotta do here. We're gonna do this. We're gonna just feed this guy the earthquake combo. Because he doesn't really have anything that deals with it. Oh yeah, they really ballsed this one up. Here, we do this. First ring actually takes a respectable amount of damage from that. And he's opening with Shadow Sky. And meanwhile, I'm going for EQ combo. Manectric, you can join the team if you live. And if not, get out of my fucking face. There's no way this Pokemon is actually that good. I've used a Manectric before. It's shit. And it didn't deserve a Mega Evolution, and it got one. But that's like years old, really. Unfortunately, Mence isn't taking any damage from that, but that is to be expected because it's a flying type. Still. Claydol. Hit Mence with Psychic. I was sorely tempted to just go straight for Hyper Beam, but of course, we did kind of get hit by Intimidate, so at that point, Psychic is still better damage. And we don't have to waste a turn sitting there being disappointed. Anyway, there's Manectric in, and Flygon is coming up next, so EQ strats will do absolutely nothing for us right now, which is fine because Ursaring just got murdered for some reason. That some reason mostly being that Salamence hits like a fucking truck, but I digress. We'll send out Walrein, and we will have a bit of a look at how exactly Mence is doing HP-wise. Oh, it took an amount of damage, all right. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that puts Ice Beam into, like, well inside an insta-kill range. So, unfortunately, I think hitting Mence with Ice Beam then would be a bit of a bad idea. But we can, in fact, go ahead and bump off the Flygon and chip down Mence even harder in an attempt to capture it. Yes, exactly. There is a way to offset it, but of course, the other side of the coin is that it does the part of things that I didn't necessarily want to do, which is pad the stream out. However, we are rolling up on 2 hours, and we've got another couple of fights left to go.
I guess I may as well try and, like, speed this a little bit. Because I'll just point out now that basically there's not a lot of post-game to this game. The main post-game that exists is that you can go and once you capture all of the shadow Pokemon, you can go and get a Shadow Dragonite by capturing it from Mirror B. And that's about it. There is technically the Ore Coliseum where you can get into fights that are pretty high level and get the you get some messages from the Cypher admins for doing that, where they'll say things like, you know, I don't hate you that much, except for Ardos, who's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you asshole. And then there's also Mountain Battle, which gives you access to a... Yo! Marowak, you are getting in the fucking ball, dude. Meant you can go kick rocks. God, I'm sorry. If you complete Mountain Battle, you can also get the Johto starters, which is nice, I guess, that you can do that much work to get them shoved onto your copy of whichever Gen 3 game you want. Oh, wait, they don't let you send them to Pokemon Home on the Switch 2, so who cares? Also, you can literally just have played through Coliseum, and if all you want is the Pokedex completion, you can just play through Coliseum, and it's much better post-game, and obtain them that way. All right, send out Magneton, and Lapras, you are just like Manectric and Marowak. Your entire stipulation here is you get to join the team if you live. And admittedly, that looks like a pretty big if. But we did get mints, so at least we're in that sort of shape right now. Oh yeah, it lived. It survived that pretty well, and it got paralyzed for our troubles. Yes! That's just getting straight in the ball. Oh no, Walrein gets taken down. There's no more experience left in the fight. Who cares? So I guess while we're doing this and we're prepping for the part where I've got to go heal afterwards, we come to a bit of a standoff of sorts. A bit of an internal argument here, which is, should I simply Master Ball the Shadow Lugia, or should I try to capture it the regular way and reserve my Master Ball for trying to grab one of Greevil's Pokemon, so that way at least I can say that I did that. Because Greevil has the 3 legendary birds, he's got Rhydon, he's got Exeggutor, and he's got Tauros. He's got, honestly, kind of a classic Gen 1 competitive team on some level. But I mean, I could just snap grab Zapdos, and that would be like, honestly, kind of just Magneton 2.0 a little bit. It wouldn't be of use to us in that part of the fight, but
that's fine. At least I'd be able to say, hey, I caught something from this fight. But on the other hand, we do have Shadow Lugia to worry about, which is a fairly difficult Pokemon to worry about. All right, well, he's dropped the glass wall. So we can go heal this way. You can also take a look over here. Okay, that's the elevator upstairs, I guess. Honestly, I would have figured it for being a little bit more central than that, but okay. I guess that's just my expectation playing a bit of a gag on me there. And we get a max revive. That is kind of nice, actually. So, Lugia is a psychic flying Pokemon. For those of you who may not remember. One of those Pokemon that probably doesn't need to be psychic type. But it is for some reason. And statistically, it is much more physically defensive than it is... much more specially defensive than it is physically, sorry. Unfortunately, we don't really have anyone to do good rock-type attacks because we don't have any access to rock attacks right now. Other than Ancient Power. And unfortunately, I cannot sneak that over to Ursaring somehow. So, again, we're going to hit this thing with just pure brute force. And make it kind of hurt a little bit. Because we're going to try to capture it the regular way. And if I fail the fight, then I will just Master Ball it, I guess. And here's the chairman of the boring here. We create an army of shadow Pokemon that work independently. Yeah, I don't know how well that'll work for you, buddy, but okay. Yeah, Greevil is out here. The lobes for business. Yeah, I mean, look at those ears. This is, I think, one of the... This is one of the small numbers, I think, of Pokemon villains who not only is explicitly stated to be obscenely rich, other than the fact that all of these operations would take massive amounts of resources, but he is explicitly stated to be the richest man in the world in this game. And he is, not only is he a villain, but he has active malice. This guy wants to, you know, the other characters where it's like, okay, they're explicit in how wealthy they are in the other Pokemon games, like Chairman Rose is just kind of a dumbass, right? And all right, Lucamine has a lot of resources that she wants to use, that she has to actually use in order to do any of the other stuff, the Ether Foundation, etc. But also, like, her whole plot ultimately is like, by the way, her brain is literally full of poison. So, you know, I think she's a little bit exempt there in a certain respect. Now, this turn should be good enough in order for us to actually... this should be enough damage for us to go, okay, now we start slinging Ultra Ball. Oh, shit, that's too much damage, actually. I need this to not kill somehow. Yeah, we way overdid it. That... Ooh, boy. Well, we did get a chunk of experience out of the deal. Good to know. But I'm resetting for that, because... Yeah, that's not our intention. Such devastation. Anyway. So, I mean, most of the evil team leaders, you probably would have to have a lot of resources to build up the amount of stuff that they use. But Greevil is explicitly tagged as being the richest person in the world, and he has a certain level of actually wanting to actively take over the world. Realistically, I don't think any of the major team villains outside of Lysander and Giovanni are, like, actively... And Ghetsis, but Ghetsis is like a whole set of exceptions on some level. But Greevil is definitely the one where they are upfront about the fact that he's rich and he wants to... And he's evil on purpose as opposed to being a dumb fuck who keeps stumbling into bad ideas. Asterisk, I do not remember Cyrus's whole backstory, if he has like, oh, I want to rule the new world or something, or if he's just like, I want to create the new world. So, either way, nevertheless, Greevil is still a guy who is kind of an outlier a little bit. At least in my opinion. And he definitely... My point is that it feels like at least some part of his villainy is explicitly tied to the fact that he is as rich as he is. And Pokemon is not very good at doing that. A lot of the time, it's just like, okay, this guy is an idiot, and that's their problem. But no, with this dude, it's just straight up that he is... His being rich is part of why he's evil. And this also ties into Ardos and Eldis, who are... I don't know if it's been specifically mentioned yet that those are his kids, but spoiler alert, Ardos and Eldis are Greevil's children. Somehow this guy who looks like a fucking macadamia nut in a scarf actually managed to fuck. That might inspire the wrong people to point out, but, you know. Unfortunately, that's a risk I might have to take here. In order to say goofy shit like I usually do. Anyway. Yeah, see, this time it didn't almost die, so that's good. It did, however, become confused, which is a little bit risky. And you can see why. No, don't do that. That one also is switched. That's weird. Why does my brain keep forget? Oh, right, because I was playing a PS2 game via emulator earlier. All right, and hit Lugia with some Charm after this, which will also go a good ways to lowering that confusion damage. Which will actually be quite helpful for us in this situation because, well, we would like for this thing to not kill itself. Good enough. Also, I love this, like, menacing orchestral version of the battle theme. This is pretty good. This is a solid choice. Remember our order of operations here. By the time I'm done with this fight, I'll finally pick it up, I'm sure. Yo, the sheer amount of turn skips that we're getting out of this thing. Excellent. Excellent. And that HP is about as low as we can get it. Yeah, Shadow Storm. This is going to hurt because we don't have special attack reduction here. There's no, like, Eerie Impulse in this game, or... I think it's Eerie Impulse, which is the one that halves the opponent's special attack. I don't know if there's anything in this era that does directly lower special attack. There very well may be, I just can't think of it offhand. Meanwhile, Walrein is standing up to this pretty well, but I guess Magneton took a Death Ray earlier, so that would explain a bit. Play Doh come in here and be the thing that soaks hits while I try to actually land the Pokeball. We're gonna keep trying. We gotta get lucky eventually here. Unfortunately, I can't really do anything else to jack the catch rate up too much higher. I think after a point, surely timer balls have to be the better option, right? Can you look up the catch rate algorithm for timer balls? Okay. So, Timer Ball should actually be a better chance now. So, let's start chucking the 15 of those that we've got around. Six. Yes, there we go. Get back to our wasted turns here. Come on. Yes, good. Just keep wasting your turns, dude. That's what we need. Need those turns to be wasted more. Come on. By now, this has got to be at, like, 3x, at least. And it's still, like, 3 times of basically nothing is kind of the problem. God, I really feel like my luck feels unusually bad for a Pokemon like this. Is what I'm feeling like right now. Fucking hell. Could you stop doing the shitty AoE move, you piece of garbage? I hate trying to catch, like, the super hard legendaries. These fights are always the absolute worst in the game. And a big part of this is like a big part of why I think there should be a move that does nothing but inflict freeze on an opponent. And a lot of people will be like, oh, that's busted. And I'm just like, dude, look at what game we're talking about here. Not from that perspective of things. I'm talking about competitive whiners. But anyway. Could this piece of shit get in the fucking ball already? Also, just because these are absolutely miserable battles in general. Yeah, look at that. It was almost there. Almost. I got the high luck roll. I can't wait for this thing to kill itself with confusion, thus rendering the last 10 plus minutes of my life invalid. Oh, it didn't die. It just came real close. It's trying real hard. Unfortunately, I legitimately have nothing else with which to sandbag turns except for more items. Now, because this thing runs on fucking Duracells, apparently, I'm not allowed to throw two balls in a turn because it says that it has to recharge between inside of a turn. And yeah, there we go. It just committed suicide. Cool. I'm really just thinking I'm probably going to just throw the fucking Master Ball at it and just look over at all of Greevil's Pokemon and just go, I'm going to shoot every single one of you in the fucking face. And just burn through all of them. Just, I don't care anymore now. This is why they stopped having these things be the minimum catch rates for the final boss legendaries, is because it's not fun. It's actually the worst part of Pokemon by a wide margin. At least for the story ones. I mean, say whatever for anything else. You know, sure, for bonus things that are, you know, the end of a dungeon or something, sure. Not for the story Pokemon, please! Stop that! Actually, they did stop that, and that's the point. I mean, Gen 9 is a bit of a weird one because they just give you that Pokemon. Right? And then Gen 8, you capture Eternatus for free due to mechanics. I think there's actually a challenge attached to capturing, what's its name? The dog on the cover. Zacian or Zamazenta. Zacian. 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 However you pronounce that thing's name. I don't think we ever became clear on that. But yeah, I'm just gonna steal this thing right out from under this guy. And I mean, bro, what did you think would happen? Also, bro does kind of live in a region where all battles are double battles. So, like, once again, sending one Pokemon out against two is a good way for it to get blown up. Obviously, this guy is trusting a little too much in his legendary Pokemon, like some kind of buffoon. But hey, he's rich, therefore, of course he's stupid, right? Ah, shit. That Rhydon absolutely has Lightning Rod, so we're going to have Magneton start out with setting up a Rainstorm. As you can see, Rhydon went down like a sack of rocks. Executor. Hey, look, it's a shadow Pokemon. Like I said, this dude has like a very archetypal Gen 1 type of team. Like Gen 1 competitive kind of grade. Meanwhile, Magneton is going to explode that Moltres with the force of you know, the supposed Nikola Tesla death ray that didn't actually exist. Meanwhile, there is every possibility that Walrein does not live to Ice Beam. Oh shit, it's alive. Okay. What was I saying there? Well, I deserve to get played for a fool. Meanwhile, Executor is frozen and defrosted. And this is why a move that just freezes a Pokemon would not be broken. Because it can literally unthaw faster than it can wake up! Which is quite frankly a load of dog shit, by the way. Like, for real? That's a thing that you're gonna tell me is actually the case. Aim Thunder over there, and just try to land a bite on Moltres. We go faster. This is probably the only Pokemon on our team that does. And he sends out Tauros. Yeah, he's got some good Pokemon there. You know, unfortunately, I think Tauros' best days are past it, but who doesn't like Tauros, right? Let me tell you, somebody with no fucking taste, that's who. Unfortunately, it did just kind of get vaporized from orbit, so, you know, unfortunately, trade-offs, you make them. Meanwhile, here's Articuno. Now, Articuno has special defense on its side by virtue of being given a really bad stat spread from the... Oh, does Shadow Ed not kill you? Sure, let's try chucking a ball at Executor. Because it's at minimum HP. This might actually be a shoo-in for a free catch. There, I caught one of the final boss's Pokemon! You can all kiss my ass if you were thinking I wasn't going to try. Because quite frankly, I wasn't going to try, and I did anyway. Yeah, okay. Shadow End deals damage, and the user takes recoil damage equal to half of its current HP. The recoil damage from this move is not prevented by Rock Head. So thanks a lot for not giving me a full set of information there, Bulbapedia. Excuse me. But I just assumed the idea is supposed to be that the recoil damage is rounded down. Anyway, we've got a bit of this setup going. Unfortunately, I don't have my bazooka left anymore, but I can still basically kick Articuno in the nards real quick here. Hey, don't take it so literal, Retro. Come on. Oh, I would have loved to have seen the burn, because we've, like, never seen a burn this game. Ouch. And yeah, because those are shadow moves, the shadow unique moves for our birds over here. Fucking hell!
Okay. Fine. Get out the bear. Get out the cocaine bear. Come on. Unfortunately, our rain has stopped, which means that, well, it wasn't really doing shit for us right now anyway, but hey. Metal Claw doesn't actually do much more for us against either of these, but... Alright, let's go for our target of opportunity here. I was hoping that Claydol would have a chance to hit it with Ancient Power, which probably wouldn't be a one-shot kill, but it would be pretty heavy damage. Unfortunately, since these guys decided to gang up on my one Pokemon and did enough damage combined that, yeah, it just was not in the cards. And unfortunately, our only fast Pokemon is now dead, so I really gotta hope that Ursaring can deliver a kill here for me. Come on. Deliver us from evil. And deliver unto them. I don't know where I'm going with this bit, but that fucker is dead. And that is a thing that makes me incredibly happy. Now, we are going to... we're gonna max revive something. I'm gonna max revive Claydol. Just to bring back the promised ones here. A tag team duo that honestly are probably not my best choice of two Pokemon, but let's go for it anyway. Unfortunately, the combo is not gonna crop up here because there's no reason for Ursaring to hit Earthquake because it won't hit. Duh. As Zapdos hooks Ursaring up to a car battery, but that's okay. We are fine here. It's dead. We win. And this is some monstrous difficulty here at the end. Honestly, with how generous this game had been up to this point, I was not expecting it to ramp so hard as to give me a real challenge with that. I was fully expecting there to be enough experience more for me to get into shape for these fights, and there was not. Damn, there was not. Well, now that we've beaten this guy, the Blowjob brothers come back in, as usual. Well, slowly. We're done here. We should blow up Cinedark Isle with the child still on it. And all of the other people? What about you guys? Well, I mean, where would you be able to escape to? See, at least Greevil has enough sense to go, yeah, we've got dudes who are gonna die if we do that. Meanwhile, this guy is just like, oh, those are expendable. Being rich turns your brain into fucking tapioca, dude. I mean, you all knew that already, but yeah. Yeah, see, even his own brother thinks that this guy's a real cunt. Like, come on. Yeah, see, incredible. Usually it's the red guy who's like the rage bot and the blue guy who's the calm guy. But Eldis is being the voice of reason. Meanwhile, Ardos is a complete psychopath. Why aren't you showing some spine? God, all right, Mark Andreessen, calm the fuck down here. I'm name dropping him specifically because he was recently in the news media. And by news media, I'm using that term as a bit of a stretch here, you know, more like social media. Because he said something like he doesn't do any introspection and trying to claim that it was a modern idea, which it legitimately is not. And also, that is kind of giving the game away with these guys' whole ideology, isn't it? Anyway, the blue guy goes off to have a sulk. Greevil's like, wow, I really fucked up, huh? Maybe he... Which is a huge shock that he's the one who's like, bro, we fucked up real bad. This deep into the operation. And Eldest is just like, yeah, let's go clean. Yeah, okay, dudes. Okay. Sure. I mean, I guess they've got to like... They gotta humanize the villains a little bit on some level, supposedly. Or give them depth or something, but like... It is still Pokemon. There's no expectations here. Oh, hey, there's that guy from the windmill that we saw once. And what are all these little, like, bits that are sprinkling down? Oh, and there's our little sister who looks like a plush toy of some kind. And our mother who did something in this game. I guess. There's Gonzap in the back. There's some dude in a hat. Hey, that guy with the horrible hair. Oh, I didn't see the Chad anywhere. Where did Chad go? His name was Zook. That's Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, everybody. That game gets really hard at the end. Like, damn, that's actually respectable amounts of difficulty for a Pokemon game. I am shocked and appalled. And by appalled, I mean not actually appalled, but kind of in awe, really. I wasn't expecting this to have that sort of, like, pain towards the end. But I will say that Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness and Colosseum, they hit a very specific sort of niche, I think, in the idea of the Pokemon RPG. And it's not because of the double battle only system. Again, I think we should have more of that in the Pokemon series. We need to see that a little bit more often, in my opinion. But also, very specifically, the sort of limited resources style that you have, where the game only gives you access to a certain amount of Pokemon. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to count the number of Shadow Pokemon that are available real quick. Five, 30, 5, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 83 if I did my count correctly, with one of them being
literally locked to a post-game section. And even then, quite a lot of the good Pokemon that you can get, stuff like Tauros, Dugtrio, Snorlax, Magneton, a lot of that stuff is restricted to incredibly late in the game, and meanwhile, a lot of the rest of the time you have to deal with things like Ladybug, Poochyena, Gulpin. You know, at least Meowth is kind of cool. So it's this idea of this like limited resources style of game where they give you a lot of Pokemon that are not very good to use for most of the game. And I think that that's very interesting. But again, it does kind of tickle a very specific part of the brain. With regard to, I don't think that's a thing that a lot of people are that into. Because that's even more restrictive than what you get in Red and Blue, for example. Yes, I couldn't finish the whole thing because it wasn't finished. Oh, we have to fight this guy real quick. Yeah, like I said, there's a chunk of extra game, a chunk of post game after this. But really, the main thing that we're here for is the Shadow Pokemon, and there's exactly one that requires a post game. So, yeah. Big whoop. Also, this guy is bringing out a lot of Pichus, apparently. So, what we're going to do is we're going to double switch, and we're going to start earthquaking. Start earthquacking. Wait, no, that would revolve around Golduck. Never mind. Disregard whatever stupid thing it was I just said because it was really silly. But yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty good game. It's just, wow, that ending is a lot steeper than I was expecting. But I'll cut it a little slack there because that's not actually a thing that makes it bad. It just makes it painful. If there's a bad aspect to be found there, it's the fact that Shadow Lugia is a minimum catch rate Pokemon. That is a little bit overkill. Yeah, here we go. Here's more rats. Wow, he's got a lot of these guys, huh? Oh, Brick Break at least is a source of damage, but he definitely did not aim that one correctly. Volt Tackle, however, properly used. But also, wow, that... Well, I guess that's his level 50 Pikachu, right? So that one's a lot faster than the other one, huh?
Excellent. Easy battle. Only one attack did any real damage, so yeah. Well, we can go out into the middle of the desert wastes here and fight those guys, I guess. Also, at the end of this, we've ended up with Claydol being our highest level Pokemon, which is very strange. Especially because early on I was like, yeah, Baltoy isn't going to be that useful, right? And then guess what happened? We're going to go stop by Realgam Tower, and we're going to show off a run of the Coliseum here, and that will probably be what closes us out, just to have a little bit more content at the end, so that way I'm not cutting off a whole 20 minutes early. Just up mostly 20 minutes early. All right, let's do this. These battles are around level 40 for reference. So, yeah, just to understand where we're going to be at in terms of challenge level here. Oh, hey, this guy is prepared for our setup. He's not having this shit. You know what, dude? Fair enough, but that doesn't mean that I have to be happy about that. Wow, that Donphan is really hanging on, actually. There's Celio. Cialio. Let's... No, I think Psychic is going to still end up being stronger.
Yay. Oh, music took a second to kick in there. No, we're in the Realgam Coliseum. The Ore Coliseum, I think, is much higher level. But I don't know offhand how much higher level, to be fair. Mostly just showing this off a little bit, because this is going to be where we end here. We finished the story. Catching anything Greevil had was a pain in the ass. And, what was his name? Eldis. We still caught all of Eldis's Pokemon, though. Shockingly enough. In fact, before Greevil, who keeps all of his Shadow Pokemon on his person, the only person whose Shadow Pokemon we're missing is we don't have one of Ardos's Pokemon, which would be the Snorlax, because it blew itself up. Claydol, you don't really have anything you can do against Mawile, but you can chunk it a little bit with Psychic. And here's Vigoroth. Here's our last Pokemon to face for this battle. At least until round 3. This one, however, is quite fast. Aegis will die to basically anything. But not that, apparently. All right, round 3. What are we dealing with here? Ooh, Gligar is a slightly unfortunate thing to see. We gotta take that out first before we can be useful here. Meanwhile, Castform still doesn't have a Sandstorm form. I do not know what's up with that. Oh, Cacturn. That is a Pokemon that kind of sucks to see in a situation like this. Not because it's necessarily strong or anything. I mean, it could do some serious damage to Claydol, but Sandvale... Yeah. We didn't even kill it with Hyper Beam. However, we did get lucky and it didn't pull any of its 20% extra evasion out of its ass. So I can't complain that much about it. Oh, this guy's opening up with 2 birds, unfortunately. So... yeah, I know. Real incredible, right? This is not the team that we want to have up the front right now. Well, Magneton, you're up. Oh, Murkrow is prepping Sky Attack. Alright, you go ahead and do that, dude. I'll just throw more rocks at you. Now, Skarmory is prepping Sky Attack. Ooh. This guy really likes this thing of using Sky Attack, apparently. Bringing in Noctowl. All 4 of this guy's Pokemon are going to be birds, aren't they? Yeah, Skarmory cannot stand up to a Thunderbolt from Magneton. Delete a move for Tri-Attack? You know what? Sure. Thunder, get out of here. Yeah, his last Pokemon is Swellow. I told you there'd be another bird in our future here. Let's do something like this, I guess. As Swellow preps Sky Attack also, because this guy has exactly 1 trick. And that Noctowl isn't quite dead yet, but it did get pretty severely roasted. Swellow, however, is fast as fuck, so it's going to be able to pull off Sky Attack. Targeting into Magneton, which... Oh my god, dude. Oh. Oh. Well, I guess when your strategy revolves around trying to spam a 2-turn move... The fact that you made any progress at all is perhaps a little bit impressive. But also, good lord, what a bad choice. It's not like I switched or anything either. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna target the thing that takes 0 damage. Yeah, real smart, dickhead. Well, I suppose Pokemon AI is a thing that never truly changes. Yeah, TM49, which I think is like Snatch or something. It's a move that I don't really use very much. Steals and uses a target's move if it raises stats. Yeah. Well, that's it for Pokemon Extra Dimension, Gale of Extra Dimension. We will be starting a new game tomorrow. For now, good night, everybody.